What's going on, everyone? It's been 4 years now since I've got on this lifestyle of Nofap, and I remember when I first heard about it, I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. My friend Derek told me about it. You guys may know him. He's the husband of a high carb Hannah here on YouTube. He's known as D-Man. And when he first told me about it in my house, I was like, dude, that is some really dumb shit. Like, that's like probably one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Not masturbating. That is so dumb. Like, that's what makes me a man. It's part of what makes me a man, my ability to masturbate and to think about women and to jack off and to just have pleasure from that. That's what I thought it was very masculine, being able to masturbate and being proud of masturbating, like every guy. But when Derek told me, no, man, you should not do that because it helps, helps you transmute that sexual energy into other areas of your life, I was like, what the hell is this transmutation bullshit about? And I thought it was super dumb, and I wanted him to leave. I was like, dude, don't bring that shit up ever again. Right? Don't even talk about that shit around me. Like, I don't want to hear it. And then, like, a week later, I was talking to someone who, like, I really respected at the time. Not that I didn't respect Derek, but Derek was just, like, homie. But then some guy came up, and he was buying some fruit off me. I was selling fruit out of my garage. Had a little co-op going on, and he was a businessman, a very wealthy man, very successful. And he told me about Nofap as well, and holding in ejaculations during sex. And he told me about this book called Male Multiple Orgasm. He's talked about like how, hey man, if you don't masturbate, if you don't jack off, if you don't come, if you don't, ejaculate, you don't finish, you can actually have multiple orgasms just by holding it in. And like that got me. I was like, hey, that must be something too. That sounds cool. Oh, I'm willing to trade not coming for multiple orgasms. That sounds great. So that's how I first got into it. And he gave me the book called Male Multiple Orgasm. I read into it, and I heard how Napoleon Hill, who I was a huge fan of at the time, also wrote about, the science of getting rich, and wrote about, Think and Grow Rich, and talked about how there's something called sexual transmutation, about how when you don't orgasm, when you don't ejaculate, you can use that energy, that sexual energy, to accomplish your goals in life. And I was into that. I was really into that. So that's what really got me into this. And what I want to say now, what I want to give you is my top 3 tips for being successful with Nofap, for being successful with having non-ejaculatory sex or having non-ejaculatory masturbation. When I say Nofap, what I'm really saying is life force cultivation. So I'm really talking about no blow, like not blowing your load, not busting your nut. So if you still want to masturbate, I think you can do that, and there's great benefit to doing that. If you still want to have sex, definitely go ahead and still have sex. I would encourage that if you're into that. But just know that you don't need to finish. You don't need to bust a nut. You don't need to orgasm. You don't need to ejaculate. And I'm saying this for guys out there. For girls, there are definitely benefits as well, but I can't speak from experience what it's like to be a girl not ejaculating, or I don't know if girls ejaculate, but I guess they do, right, when they spray, if they spray. But not finishing or not orgasming. So this video, like I said, I'm going to give you 3 top tips for being successful with Nofap. Here we go. Tip number 1 is to keep yourself busy doing things that you love doing. You'll find, or at least I found, the times that I was most likely to want to masturbate, times I was most likely to want to watch porn or ejaculate and get off like with instant pleasure like that, is when I was bored and I had nothing to do. And so if I keep myself busy, I'm always doing things, I'm always making progress, I'm getting pleasure from progress in life. I'm getting pleasure from accomplishing my goals in life, rather than this short-term gratification. So I'm trading the short-term instant gratification for like long-term deep fulfillment in my work, in my career, in my contributions to the community, in my contributions to YouTube and Instagram and my friends, and actually like doing stuff in life, like keeping busy, doing positive things in life. So that's very, very important. That's my very first tip, is just keep busy doing the things you love. If you ever find yourself like not knowing what you want to do that day, like don't let that become a habit. Like every night before I go to bed, I plan out what I'm going to do the following day. I wrote it right here on this page, right here. I wrote what I want to do the following day. So today I plan tomorrow, so that way tomorrow when I wake up, I know exactly what I'm doing. That's a huge tip for succeeding with Nofap, knowing what you're doing with your day. So if you don't know what the hell you want to do, well, humans, we naturally want to seek pleasure, so we don't know what to do. Hell, just go masturbate. So that's the first tip right there. Keep busy and know what you want to do the day before you wake up. Second tip is to avoid stimulants. Stimulants like caffeine, stimulants like chocolate, even like stimulating herbs out there. There's certain stimulating herbs that increase your level of arousal. And those herbs and drugs like caffeine, those stimulants are gonna, what goes up must come down. And when you come down, Well, what are you coming down from? You're coming down from a high. You're coming down from pleasure. And what goes up must come down. So if you ever drink coffee or tea or whatever, or take some herbs and you feel high, next thing you know, you're going to be down. And when you're down, like I said, humans, we seek pleasure, especially when we're down because we're desperate for pleasure now. Quick and easy way to get that spike up again is just to masturbate, just to ejaculate. So my second tip is to avoid all stimulants and all, arousal enhancing herbs. There's a certain tea out there. I forget what it's called, but every time I drink it, it makes me really, really horny. So I don't drink that tea anymore. I'm like, if I drink that tea, it's almost like guaranteed to make me want to jack off. And so I avoid that tea. And it could just be placebo, but it doesn't matter because it's the trigger for me. So I just don't drink that tea. Same thing with caffeine and even green tea and stuff. Like anytime I have caffeine in my system, I'm so much more likely to want to orgasm. So I avoid that. That's my second tip. The third tip is to, anytime you do jack off, anytime you do orgasm, anytime you do slip up, just get right back on track. Just get right back on track. Just learn from that mistake. In fact, take a note of it. Like write down what triggered it. For me in the past, one of my biggest triggers, even currently one of my biggest triggers, is just a feeling of stress and wanting to instantly relieve that stress. And a quick and easy way to relieve stress is just to whack off, right? So guys will feel stressed and they're like, oh, I don't want to feel stressed anymore. So then they just whack off and then instantly like fall asleep or whatever. But then again, there's all these, downsides to having, now you just release your sperm and now you're not as vital, now you're not as vigorous, now you're not as motivated to go out and crush your goals in life because you just got that instant gratification from whacking off. So if you ever do slip up, just take note of it. Don't beat yourself up, but just take note of it, and try and find the trigger. Try and find whether it's an external trigger, or maybe you're flipping through Instagram and you're subscribed to a bunch of porn stars or something. Or maybe it's an external trigger, or maybe it's an internal trigger. Maybe every time you think about a certain girl, or maybe it's every time you think about your work, or anytime you think about finances or something, you get stressed out and that makes you want to whack off. Just take note of that. Whatever the trigger is, and then try to mitigate that, try to eliminate that for the future. And it all comes back to then, just keeping busy, doing what you love, keeping busy, staying in a really positive, good routine for yourself. And of course, eating really clean foods, so that you have enough energy, so that you don't need caffeine, making sure you're getting enough sleep so that you don't need caffeine. Having the cold showers, jumping in a cold body of water, doing the Wim Hof cold exposure so that you don't feel like you need the caffeine. Finding your triggers is very, very important. But whenever you do slip up, if you ever do slip up, just take note of it and try to make sure that you don't make that mistake again. And that's it. Those are my top 3 tips for being successful with Nofap. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you girls liked this video as well. And if you did, awesome. Make sure to subscribe and maybe share this video with someone who you think it could benefit. All right, well, that's it for now. Peace, much love. I'll see y'all this summer at the Canada Vegan Fest. All right, ciao for now. Bye-bye.